It is easy to look at the technology-infused classroom and not see all the work that is being done or has already been done by both the teacher and the students. Let's walk through a sample day to see both the explicit and implicit work being done by all. On the surface, the class starts off like many other classes with the teacher greeting his, her, their students as they enter, and a bell ringer question posted on the board to start the class thinking about the day's material. At the start of class, the teacher asks the question students love not to answer. Did you have any questions on the material discussed? To understand how students could have questions at the start of class, we must understand the events leading up to this moment. It is the expectation of the class that the students watch a video introducing the material to be discussed in the upcoming class previous to the class. Once the students have watched the video, they are expected to take a Check for Understanding quiz that asks the students a series of 3 to 5 questions on the material from the video watched. Once the students have answered the questions at a satisfactory level, more on that later, the associated homework assignment is unlocked for students to complete and submit. There is a clear understanding between the students and the teacher that if the material in the video doesn't make sense, there is the chance for an in-class discussion. Furthermore, the material in the video offers an overview of the material to be discussed. The information deep dive will happen in class as a whole group discussion or in smaller group settings. Think about it similar to how college students are expected to read assigned chapters prior to class in order to fuel in-class discussions. This all makes it possible for the teacher to start the class asking students, what questions do you have? The teacher has the option to either revisit the material discussed in the video or look at specific questions from the assigned problem set. This decision can be made based on the types of questions the students are asking, being used as a formative assessment for the learning. If the students try the age-old tactic of not asking questions, hoping the teacher will move on, the teacher is encouraged to probe on specific questions assigned or have a challenge problem in his, her, their pocket that the students can walk through solving to help evaluate the learning. Once the teacher has determined that the group has a solid base understanding, a connecting problem is presented to the students. This connecting problem could show how previous material is directly related to the current topic, or better yet, ask the students to determine how the previous material is connected to the current material. Alternatively, the problem could be presented as a real-world situation that the students have to determine the end result and defend his, her, their conclusion. Other options are to provide the students with an activity that helps make deeper connections between ideas or present a discrepant idea where an observed result does not match up with the current way of thinking and students are challenged to explain the difference. After the connecting problem, the students are invited to complete the homework assignment assigned for the current material, if applicable, and start on the materials for the next lesson. While that cycle of work may be visible during the class, it's only part of the story. Let's take a look at some of the work happening behind the scenes. The easiest place to start is at the end, when the students are invited to work on homework and start the next concept. The teacher doesn't sit back and relax or wait for students to ask questions. The teacher takes an active role in monitoring his, her, their students. The teacher floats around the classroom, not only monitoring student work and providing accountability, but also looking at the students' work as a quick check formative assessment of learning. It is also possible for the teacher to do this while the students are working on the connecting problem earlier in the class. While monitoring student work is important, this work time is a great time for direct and/or differentiated instruction by the teacher. The teacher can meet with students in small groups to reteach, reinforce, or clarify the information or any past information as needed. This time can also be a time for one-on-one student conferences to identify what a student believes he, she, they needs help with. In short, this work time can be the largest chunk of class as it is the environment for differentiation of instruction. Knowing that some students will excel in this environment and others may need face-to-face interaction to best learn the material, the teacher will need to work with the students to help them self-identify optimal strategies while promoting a growth mindset. In this model, we have seen success with teachers introducing student coaches. These are students who feel comfortable with the material and volunteer to help answer the questions of their classmates. One of the best parts of this model are the conversations we've heard between the teachers and student coaches, like, don't just say, nope. What about, this one isn't quite right. Explain to me how you solved this, and then help them fix the problem. Don't just fix it for them. These interpersonal skills the student coaches gain go far beyond the walls of the classroom and the specific class concept they are learning. Perhaps one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle happens at some point before the start of the next class. The teacher looks into the learning management system and the material assigned, asking questions such as, did my students complete the work? Who has shown growth lately? In the example class we showed you earlier, the class utilized the learning management system Schoology, which allows for student completion guidelines, conditions set by the teacher that need to be met in order for the student to progress. In this case, students must watch the video. Once they've watched the video, the Check for Understanding quiz is unlocked. Students are asked between 3 and 5 questions on that concept, and they must score a 100% on the quiz in order to move forward. Students can take the quiz as many times as they would like. To ensure students don't just copy answers in order to move forward, the quiz is fed random questions from a question bank containing unique questions on that specific concept. Each time the student attempts the quiz, it pulls a random set of questions from the bank. The more questions in the bank, the less chance of student workarounds. And it's all still based around that single concept. Once the student has scored a 100% on the quiz, the homework assignment is unlocked. After completing the assignment, the student can submit their work to Schoology, which unlocks the video for the next concept, and the cycle continues. With this setup, not only can the teacher see if the students have completed the assigned work, it's also possible to see how many times each student attempted the quiz, which potentially connects with the level of understanding of that material. Knowing that the quiz questions were designed to be at a surface level understanding, the teacher may want to use this time to conference with any students who were unsuccessful completing the quiz and/or had more than 5 attempts to find out what went wrong and correct any misconceptions. This information can provide the most data for directing who the teacher meets with during the self-directed work time. But what about students who do not complete the work? One solution is to have a shared set of headphones available for students who do not watch the video prior to class. While the class is asking questions at the start of class and potentially working on the connecting problem or activity, this student will watch the video and complete the Check for Understanding questions, knowing full well the teacher will be following up with him, her, or them during the self-directed work time. Usually, there is a reasonable explanation for the student not completing the work. Furthermore, missing the in-class discussion and/or connecting problem also is a natural deterrent for not completing the work. If the students continually do not complete the work before class, it's important to either address the needs for that student. Do they not understand how to access the information? Do they not have internet access outside of school, etc.? Or address the behavior issue with that student. In closing, technology provides both teachers and students with endless possibilities to further personal learning. This classroom shows a few examples of how a teacher can use the data from some tools to not only differentiate learning for his, her, their students, but also make that learning happen at a deeper level.